I call Jacinda Ardern.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I rise and speak as a resident of Auckland, but also a resident of central Auckland, the place where this eventual convention centre will reside. And I rise also as someone who lives in the area where Sky City is the most significant employer in terms of numbers. And it was absolutely irresponsible of that member opposite to claim that not building a convention centre under the auspices of Sky City would have led to people currently employed losing their jobs. That was an outrageous statement to make. But it is also being outrageous to try and claim that this was the only option on the table. Let us not be naive. Labor from the beginning has been opposed to this casino deal. We have never been opposed to a convention centre being built. There is a very important, distinct difference there. Of course, this side of the House wants to see decent economic development. Of course, this side of the House wants to see Auckland thrive, tourism grow, and people being offered opportunities that a potential convention centre could have brought. Did we want that to happen off the back of harm and misery? No. And that is why we oppose this deal. And also, Mr. Speaker, we cannot be naive and pretend that this was the only offer on the table. That seems to have been somewhat lost in this debate. In fact, before the Prime Minister had a chat with Sky City and realised that they were interested to the point that it might not cost him a pretty penny, there were several other deals on the table. One included from Ngāti Whātua, another from the Edge. Auckland Council put forward a proposition that we have the Aotea Centre that could be better utilised. We could expand the footprint of that centre. We could transport the arts side of the Aotea Centre to the St James, a beautiful jewel in the Auckland crown that is desperately in need of restoration. It's something that the people of Auckland have been crying out to happen for years, and while it sits and crumbles in the centre of Auckland, we had a proposition on the table that could have seen a beautiful trade-off which would have allowed a convention centre and that jewel in the crown of Auckland to be restored. Instead, the government bought a crown of coin machines for Auckland. That was the trade-off that that government decided to make. And Mr. Speaker, I've been interested in the debate recently that we've seen around inequality. According to the OECD measures, the Gini coefficient, New Zealand is the most unequal we have ever been. And one of the points, Mr. Speaker, that the IMF makes around inequality is that countries that live with deep inequality tend to have governments that start making decisions on behalf of those who are most powerful, rather than on behalf of the good of the country and the economy. And that is exactly what this deal represents. It was made on behalf of those who are powerful rather than those who cannot vote, in particular, kids. The Expert Advisory Group on Child Poverty points out that problem gambling is correlated with child poverty, and in fact it exacerbates it. That is a point that has been made time and time again by the Problem Gambling Foundation, any expert who works on child poverty issues, that if you want to support those that are most vulnerable, do everything you can to remove problem gambling, and in particular, pokie machines. Any government that argues that it is happy to simply minimise harm, I think is making a ridiculous argument. It's like saying, Mr. Speaker, that you would rather raise the speed limit knowing people would die and then simply minimise the harm by putting more gurneys in a hospital. It is a flawed argument and a point that has been right to have been made before now. But any government that argues they would rather make that trade-off is trying to put power before people. This comes back to my main point, Mr. Speaker. This deal demonstrates, I believe, the stark difference between National and Labour. We both want jobs, yes. We both want economic development, yes. But Labour would have conducted an open and transparent process that would ensure a convention centre that was a place of pride, not harm, that was about people, not pokies.
Point of order.
A point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the notice given by the Leader of the House at the Business Committee, I seek leave for order of the day number 2 the Psychoactive Substances Bill to be taken under urgency in order to ensure it is passed before the recess.
Speaking to the point of order, Tim McIndoe.
Mr Speaker, but I was on the phone call. I missed the beginning. Could I ask the Shadow Leader of the House to repeat the beginning of his point of order?
I think what I said at the beginning was, pursuant to the notice given at the Business Committee by the Leader of the House, I seek the leave of the House for urgency to be accorded order of the day number 2, the Psychoactive Substances Bill.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is objection. So, calling Dr. Jiang Yang.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker. Here is what Auckland Tourism